2nd and 8. Only one turnover in the game. Rudolph, sideline throw. And a catch made by Johnson. Diontae Johnson puts a move
on. Welcome back to 5-Star Matchup. If you like what we do, make sure you subscribe now and turn on your notifications. Well, this was certainly not the game I thought I'd be bringing you, at least not until around 8:30 p.m. on Saturday night, but sadly and painfully, we're going to be stoking the fires of the ever-present Mason Rudolph discussion and try to figure out just what the hell happened in Pittsburgh yesterday. Hi, Snaps. Man, I thought Pouncey retired. More on this later, but nice recovery by Mason. Never shy to chuck it deep, everyone's favorite punching bag, Mason Rudolph flings this one out to his man J-Wash, who can't make the grab, but draws the huge early PI to put the Steelers in business. Just Najee things, and the run game was cooking early on. Love to see this line clearing lanes for the Rook, and it's only getting better the longer this thing goes on. 3rd and 8 now from the 9, and it's that man you love to hate, Mace Rude, who stands in the pocket with enough time to cook some ramen and flips it out to a wide open James Washington for the shockingly easy early score for the boys in black. Hell of a start for an offense that's lost its quarterback less than a day ago. Lions get the run game going, a theme for the day, and I just had to put this one in because I wanted all the salt today. Great play by Cookie's favorite son, Terrell, who fights through the blocker and takes down the receiver for a loss. You'll continue to tell me he sucks, and I'll continue to point out that he, in fact, does not. It's the circle of life. More nice early play calling from Matt Canada, who gets Mason rolling and slinging on first for a nice little completion to Ray Ray, who had a career day without the bank's massive presence. Matt Canada giveth, and he taketh. What is this call? Can't get behind and down in distance with the backup, come on. Just don't turn it over, I say meekly in my lizard brain, and of course it's the worst play of the day for the quarterback as number 2 drops a number 2 and misses Kalen Ballage high on a pass that Kareem Abdul-Jabbar couldn't have caught, and it's obviously picked for a monumental turnover just as the Steelers were looking to take control. A rare almost oops by Jumpman Joe, who gets cooked like a toaster strudel, but Goff's throw is awful and number 23 is able to get back in time for the breakup. Got beat, but stayed with it. Vet stuff. TJ Watt doing TJ Watt things on 3rd and 10 when we're into the second quarter already. Because every coordinator wanted to make my Sunday worse, Danny Smith coaxes a boomer of a punt from young Press the Thick, and the return flips the field. Just gross. Going on 4+ years of the Steelers' inside linebackers being invisible, and the Lions have clearly watched the tape as they just hand it off up the gut for an oh-so-easy and sickening 28-yard rushing touchdown right up the gut of Mike Tomlin's once-vaunted defense. Back to Mason, and on 3rd and 8, he's waiting and choosing, and he finds Diontae for a first around midfield. Leads to a 1st and 5, and it's another case of Senor Canada outthinking everyone in the stadium, including himself. Again, actively worsening down in distance. Not going to be a great path to success with a backup quarterback, Matt. Because football has a funny way of such things, on the very next play, it's that same Ray Ray snagging a first and getting popped in the process, but you love to see it. More dominant ground game stuff from the Naj man here, and if you don't know how to tie a tie, you better get a clip on because the Steelers are once again in the business zone. While we continue to learn everything and nothing every week about the Pittsburgh Steelers, there's one thing that's for sure, and it's that Najee Harris is gonna be a good one. Because he's a good one, he breaks the 1st and goal run outside and scores from the 7 to put the Steelers up 14-7. And because football clearly needs to be an excruciating experience, Dan Moore gets called for a ticky-tack hold, and this drive is dead in the water. Boz smacks it through for the 10-7 lead. Run defense? I barely even know her. Clearly the Lions' game plan coming in was to pound the rock old school, and who can blame them when this is the way the Steelers' defense responds. More of the same on the next one, and I hate to point out that it's flu season, but the Steelers' defense couldn't stop a sneeze, much less a run play, and the Lions are opening an LLC of their own. Oh, so close for the Steelers' second best Cameron, who usually makes the play but can't quite hear, and the Lions settle for the 3 and tie as we head into the half. it's not even showing the pretense of the pass anymore, and it just does not matter. I'm sorry to say it, but if you didn't know what this team had done the last 2 years and couldn't see the jerseys, I don't think you'd be saying a defense giving up 3rd and 9s on the ground was very good. Almost on cue, it's the Lions gashing the D yet again, and I hate to be the one to point out Devin Bush getting vacuumed up in the run, but I've been pointing it out since 2019. Because this game is determined to progress from an ordeal to a full-blown debacle, it's another handoff up the gut that the defense is powerless to stop, and this one goes all the way to the house. Just a pitiful defensive series, and this one has all the makings of an utterly disgraceful Mike T signature. Lions miss the XP, 16-10.
But Rudolph is a statue.
Hate the man if you want, and he's certainly never going to be mistaken for Kyler Murray, but you'd be hard-pressed to tell me this doesn't look like Usain Bolt compared to the 39-year-old version of Ben Roethlisberger we've been watching play. And before you write that comment, stop and take things you can't control in your life just a little lighter, because I'm just joking about our fearless leader who happens to run like a turtle. More ground game stuff with the Naj man, because who doesn't want to see more of the man in the double twos? Another bad decision by Mason, who rides the fine line between giving his man a chance and being stupid, but thankfully falls harmlessly on the side of stupid but lucky. Another one for the people still laughing at the pictures of Rudolph with his face mask off from 2 years ago, as young Mace Rude tucks and runs for a first and gets popped on the end, but gets right back up. You love to see it, I guess, unless you don't. Horrible series from the 6 that involves Najee questionably getting 0 touches and another bad throw to an open Ray for what should be a game-changing touchdown. Because I know there will be people saying I took Rudolph's side or whatever, I'll say it clearly. This throw sucked, and he missed an easy touchdown. Boz slams it through, and it's a 3-point game. Defense is not quite ready to step it up, and more basic offense gets the Lions past midfield in a hiccup. It's 3rd and 5, and I'm spending 2021 falling in love with James Pierre, who makes a great play to fight through the block of an offensive tackle and make the 3rd down stop. Love his willing physicality. Reminds me a little bit of Ike Taylor. Back to whatever this thing is that the Steelers call an offense, and it's, alright, I guess? Personally, I'm a big fan of getting 4 or 5 on 3rd and 4, but here's more Matt Canada overthinking on a simple 3rd and 4 where he runs all but one option deep, and Mason has no choice but to pick one. Back to the defense now, maybe they've woken up from their nap? Classic good news, bad news for TJ Watt, who casually grabs a sack but goes down in a heap, and literally every molecule of air is pulled from Heinz Field as we await information on our star player. Luckily, Tej gingerly walks off and doesn't get changed after a trip to the tent, encouraging news as of this writing that it's not a giant deal. D shuts him down as TJ limps around, and we head into the final stanza. Maybe. Point of view, you're in a Campbell's Chunky Soup commercial with Najee Harris. You must feed him. 3rd and 15, and it's a heroic effort on the catch and run from the same rookie running back who ekes out 5 more yards after contact completely on his own to help out the Boz God, who says politely, thank you, but he probably didn't need it. I don't care if it's rain, sleet, or snow, you already know Boz is... Highball game. Does Jared Goff have it in him? In a word? No, not really. Somebody asked Pac-Man Jones if this punter deserves a Grammy for his acting job because he steals incredibly light running into the kicker, giving the Lions renewed life. Luckily, there's nothing Alex Highsmith hates more than an opponent's renewed life, and he shuts them right down. Alex continues to be better than expected against the run, but probably still somewhat disappointing as a pass rusher if we're being real with one another. 6 minutes to go, and it's a tie ball game. This is where the closer Big Ben usually trots on to secure the dub. Nice little play by Canada gets Rudolph on the move, and he hits DJ for the easy first. Great drive starter. In the words of the mask, somebody stop me! Fortunately, no one's able to do that to the giant man with Harris on his shirt, and Najee's heroic effort again makes the 3rd down easier. Filed under the oh so close to serendipity folder, Diontae is this close to another catch and run slant to lock in a win, but Mason thinks it's time to bring out his heater and misses high and hard. Again, I am making no excuse here, let's be clear. This is a monumental play and a throw Rudolph can easily make. Inexcusable. Steelers defense is of course finally feeling itself, and they shut down Goff yet again. If ever there was a team worse than their 0-8 record, it's the 2021 Detroit Lions. Because no matter who the coaches are, the Steelers love to make points to themselves, so they run the same play and it's not there. Wasting a down out of spite. Cool. 3rd and 8, and it's ugly from the word go. Bad snap messes up the timing, and Rudolph fires a risky quacker into the middle of the field, and maybe it's his nose which is glowing oh so bright because he is the luckiest reindeer in the room that this isn't intercepted. Lions get one final stab in regulation but can't do anything with it, and the Steelers wave the white terrible towel to head into overtime. Because football is clearly meant to cause aneurysms, the Lions just about double their paltry passing yardage totals on their first play of overtime because of course they do. Just as I'm put on life support, so are the Lions' chances as Godzilla Hayward does what he does best, and that's creating havoc up front. Just a Herculean effort from Captain Cam, who continues to be the last man standing on the Steelers' front all year. No words, just endless effort from Cam. 2nd and 8 now from their own 18, and it's Mason waiting and finding his man for a monumentally game-changing play, and it's another one for Diontae Johnson, who... Oh, you just hate to see it. Playing with your backup quarterback on short notice and your number 1 receiver and best offensive player all year. Fumbles after he's made the game-changing play. Unfortunately for Diontae, it's now 3 weeks in a row that he's changed this game. But this one had the opposite effect of the last 2. Boy, this sure feels like a turnover's coming, doesn't it? Well, Minka and me are on the same page when he snags that thing out of the air on an awesome read and play, but it gets called back on another crucial penalty. Not saying it's a bad call, but man oh man have flags been changing games this year seemingly more than usual. Maybe it's just me. Holding knocks the Lions back a bit and they grab a few on 3rd to make it a 48-yard attempt at the game winner.
Are the Lions going to get their first win of 2021? The kick is no good. It's not good.
No one wants to win this game. 2nd and 6 from the 42, and I scream again, I thought Pouncey retired. Maybe Kendrick thought Big Bird was the backup quarterback. To be fair, with those legs, you know he runs faster than Roethlisberger, but sadly it's just a killer wild pitch for the rookie whose chances of being a guard next year are inching upward every single week. Another one that's lucky not to be picked, and both this drive and myself are begging to be put out of their misery. Awesome blitz by Terrell Edmonds, who times it perfectly and comes unblocked to destroy Jared Goff and this possession before it even gets started. Friendly reminder that there is no one within 15 yards of Ray when he fields this punt. He gains 2 yards and a hold. I'm not saying I wish Danny Smith would go retire in the Caribbean with a big ball of bubblegum, but I'm also not saying he shouldn't. Just where you want your backup quarterback in overtime, we're starting this one at the 11, and it's time to buckle up, buckaroo. Mason threads a risky one down the middle of the pat for a first, and maybe, just maybe, the Steelers still have a tiny bit of pathetic life left shining in their eyes. Huge 3rd and 1 goes to the Naj, who couldn't be stopped short if he tried, and the Steelers are yet again in plus territory. Fumbles be damned, I'm still going to my number 1 guy here, and that's exactly what young Mace Rude does when he hits Diontae on the slant, who makes an incredible play to grab a few and get out of bounds, setting up our 5-star
Play of the game.
No timeouts. Right now it's a 58-yard try. Catch made. Can he get out of bounds? Ball's out! He caught it and lost it. And the Lions are on it. Trey Flowers back in the...
And just like that, it's time for the proverbial kissing of your sister. Deadlocked at 16, these two awful teams boldly went where most don't have the cojones to go. They both stared victory dead in the eye repeatedly and said, "No, I don't think I will." Look, there's no other way to put this. This was one of the ugliest games I've seen in my 31 plus years on this earth. While I feel inclined to give my team a little bit of slack considering they lost their leader less than a day before the game due to the seemingly never-ending pandemic, but on this day, there were many other never-ending issues. The supposedly hyper-analytical Matt Canada repeatedly outthought himself and made things way more complicated than they needed to be. The defense was gashed against the run, again, and failed to impact the game with turnovers like they did during so many poor offensive performances for much of 2019 and 2020. I'll also address the elephant in the room as the internet's most notable Mason Rudolph is fine stan, and I already know you're gonna hate hearing it, but I thought the quarterback was far from the Steelers' biggest problem today. Were there some bad throws? No doubt about it. But end of the day, only one turnover on the quarterback, and on their last 3 drives, he moved them from inside their own 20 onto the cusp of field goal range. Twice. And on the other drive, an airmailed snap completely derailed things. Do they win that game with Roethlisberger? Probably. But he's the starter, and you're supposed to ask more of him than you do Mason Rudolph. As ugly and long of a slog as this game was, it was lost on 2 fumbles by 2 of the Steelers' star offensive players in Diontae Johnson and Pat Freiermuth. I'm an optimist. Look at the stats. This team has no business being in second place in their division, but they are. And that's gotta count for something, doesn't it? Here we go. And if you're still here, make sure you hit that like and comment below, even if it's to tell me what an idiot I am. And if you really like what we do, please consider joining our Patreon for exclusives and merch. I will see you nameless gray faces next week.